Hello and welcome to the next edition of the Hewlett-Packard Enterprise Voice of the Customer podcast series. I'm Dana Gardner, Principal Analyst at Inter Arbor Solutions, your host and moderator for this ongoing discussion on digital transformation. Stay with us now to learn how agile businesses are fending off disruption in favor of innovation. Our next case study highlights how combined Finnish state gambling company Veikkaus is managing a complex merger process while also bringing more of a digital advantage to both its operations and business model. We'll explore how Veikkaus uses a powerful big data analytics platform to respond rapidly to the challenges of digitization. So join us as we learn how a culture of IT innovation is helping to establish a single, wholly state-owned company to operate gambling in Finland. Here to describe how Veikkaus is transforming itself for better customer experience from the core to the edge, we're joined by Harri Räsänen. He's the Information and Communications Technology Architect at Veikkaus in Helsinki. Welcome, Harri.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
It's nice to have you with us. I know you've come a long way. Let's hear a bit about why Veikkaus has to, in a sense, reinvent or reestablish some core technology. You have a big undertaking of bringing several different gambling organizations, gaming organizations together, and also then to provide as good a user experience as possible. Tell us your story.
Yeah, so if you think about our data infrastructure development during, let's say, 2 to 3 years, then we didn't yet have any clue that whether the gaming companies would merge or not. So we just started the development by our own company needs. And the background was that our data warehouse solution was quite traditional data warehouse, and it has been alive like 10 years, and different things has gone a little bit bad. And one of the key issues we face is that our data wasn't enough real time. So it was far from real time. We are talking about like 1 or 2 days older data, what we could do. So one of the key reasoning was that we need to data more fast and in more detailed level, because we had to do some data with aggregated level and that sort of things.
Mm-hmm. What were some of your top requirements technically in order to accomplish that?
So as I said, we have quite a old-fashioned data warehouse. So we initially needed to our game system provider to feed us data in more real time, because they were doing the batch jobs during night. So one thing they need to build up some mechanism to just feed out the data. Mm-hmm. And of course we need to build out capabilities to get the data. So we need to think about data information structure totally from scratch, so to say.
Right.
And yes.
So when we think about gambling, gaming, lotteries, in many cases this is an awful lot of data, very big undertaking. Maybe you could give us some sense of the size of the data and the disparity that the three organizations that came together, including the football organization. We want to hear more about the size and variety of the data.
Okay. So if we think about our current situation, Veikkaus, I would say the old Veikkaus, the current Veikkaus, because the new company will start in the beginning of next year. So we are a big company from customer point of view. We have like registered users of the 1.8 million consumers, and you need to compare that Finland has 5.5 million in population. So we have quite a lot of Finnish consumers in our hands, so to say. And what comes to transaction, we get like 1 million or 1 to 3 million transactions per day. So it's quite, if we think about the transactional data.
Right.
And in addition to that, of course, we gather different kind of information about our web store. It's one of the biggest web stores in Finland, if you think about any retail.
It's one thing to put in a new platform. It's another to then change the culture, the organization, and transform into more of a digital business. How is the implementation of your new data environment aiding in your cultural shift?
Luckily, Veikkaus has a quite good background to do things quite analytical. If you think of our web store, there's like a culture that we need to be able to monitor what we are doing and do whether if we are running some changes in our web store, whether it works or not. So that's a good thing. But if we think about that, we are running our whole data technology. Like we added in there Apache Kafka as an integration point. Then we have the Cloudera Hadoop system, and then we have a new ETL tool for us, Pentaho, and in the last but not least, the HP Vertica. So we had like all the different components. So it has been really challenging for us, and then lots of different things to consider and learn. Luckily, we have been able to find a good external consultant to help us out. But as you said, we can always make the technology work, but how to transfer the culture of doing things, we are still in the definitely middle of our journey.
Of course, I imagine you'll want to better analyze what takes place within your organization, so it's not just serving the data and managing the transactions. There's an opportunity to have a secondary benefit, which is the more control over your data, the more insight you can have, which then allows you to adapt and improve your customer experience, customer service. Have you been able to start down that path of that secondary analysis of what goes on internally yet? If I could come back, one of the reason actually was that some of our key data was even out of our hands in our service provider environment. And as you said, we wanted to get all the relevant data to us. And now I've been working on that new level of detailed data. And we have analysts working on that, and different both IT and business people are like browsing the data. And there have already been some findings that they even yet before couldn't even be asking or even thought about. So we have been getting information out of data. Yeah, I'd be curious. So, can you give us more specific examples of how you've been able to benefit from this new digital environment? Yeah, the consumer communication (CRM) things are really one of the key success things we need to have in place, and we have been able to, and we are constantly improving on that. And because before we had this through our data, nowadays we have a near real-time data. We get like a 1 minute old data, so we can communicate with the consumers better. We know whether they have been playing their lotteries or betting on football matches. And we can communicate that, hey, have you remembered it's time to football today and you haven't yet placed a bet? So we can communicate, and in the other hand, we can avoid this kind of disturbing customers that we won't be sending out emails or SMS messages of the things they have already done. Right. Yeah, less spam, but more help. And it's important, of course, with any organization like this in a government environment for trust and safety to be involved. I should think that there's some analysis to help with keeping people from overdoing it, perhaps, and managing the gaming for a positive outcome. Yeah, definitely. That's one of the actually key metrics we are measuring whether our consumer gaming is responsible, so to say, and are we as responsible as we are promising. So we need to
keep an eye that all things we do can be thought to be as good in that sense. Because, as you said, we are a national company. It's a very regulated market, sure. So, and that kind of things.
But a great deal of good comes from this. I understand that more than €1 billion a year go to the common good of people living in Finland, and of course some 2,000 people are employed at Veikkaus. So a lot of benefits when this is done properly.
Yeah, definitely. So you say 2,000 people, employees. Yeah, that will be after merge. Currently, we are just like a 350 person, so it's a quite small company, right. so to say.
Okay. Now that you've gone quite a ways into this, because you're going to need to be going to the new form and new organization the 1st of 2017, pretty soon.
Yeah.
What advice would you be able to give to someone who is beginning down a big data consolidation and modernization journey? What lessons have you learned that you might share?
Well, if you are experienced in, I would say, traditional either data warehousing, for example, you need to start to think about a little bit out of the box. So integration is one crucial part. So avoid all direct integration as much as possible. So as I said, we are utilizing Apache Kafka as an integration point, and that's one of the crucial things. And because then you're gonna upify everything, so to say. So you're gonna just provide application interfaces for integrating systems, and that will be helping us in a merge of gaming companies.
A lot of services orientation.
Exactly, yeah. If I can add, that's just one component of our data architecture. Then we have using a Cloudera Hadoop system for the archiving purposes. And we are building up all the analytical capabilities on the top of that. And in addition, of course, we have the HP vertical, but it's as other things, one of the most crucial thing in our data ecosystem, because it's a traditional enterprise data warehouse in that sense that it's a SQL database. Users can take a benefit out of that, and in addition to that, it's like lightning fast. And so you need to design all the components and make those work on that role that they are based at.
Mm-hmm. And of course, SQL is very commonly understood as the query language, and so no great change there, but really putting it in the hands of more people.
Yeah. As I said, it's actually, I have been writing or talking SQL since beginning of 90s, and it's a pretty easy language to communicate, even between business and IT, because it's in at least some level it's self-explanatory. So that's what the communication method is, just to say it as SQL.
Just a much better engine under the hood, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, great. I'm afraid we'll have to leave it there. We've been exploring how combined Finnish state gaming company Veikkaus is managing a complex merger process while also bringing more of a digital advantage to its operations and business. And we've learned how a culture of IT innovation is helping to establish a single, wholly owned state company to operate gaming in Finland. So please join me in thanking our guest. We've been here with Harri Räsänen, yes, Information and Communications Technology Architect at Veikkaus in Helsinki. Thank you, Harri.
Thank you.
And a big thank you as well to our audience for joining us for this Hewlett-Packard Enterprise Voice of the Customer Digital Transformation Discussion. I'm Dana Gardner, Principal Analyst at Inter Arbor Solutions, your host for this ongoing series of HPE-sponsored interviews. Thanks again for listening, and please do come back next time.